Today, I want to talk about something that isn't talked about enough, and that is that selfishness is actually probably the best thing you can do for yourself sometimes. So, I want to get something out the way immediately, and that is to say that selfishness does not equal narcissism. That's a common feeling and a common trope amongst different people, especially in America. When you think of selfishness, you think of something like someone who just acts in their own accord for their own benefit all day, every day. Now, that's not true. Is that rarely the case? Selfishness doesn't equal narcissism. It equals something that we've developed over years and years and years of our evolution. And that's going to be something called self-preservation. This is an instinct people have to keep themselves not only alive, but healthy, fit, and continuing to thrive. Selfishness is an evolutionary trait. Selfishness is not something that is found in normal society. It's prevalent because we have a word for it, but all types of animals have this same type of affect to their personalities. They all want to survive, they all want to thrive, they all want to keep going. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with this. It is normal. It is in every single animal who has a survival instinct. Selfishness isn't narcissism. Selfishness should not be treated as narcissism. Selfishness should be treated for what it is. Selfishness is more akin to trying to do your best for not just your best interest, but the best interest of your family. That's what selfishness should be attributed to. Now, there's pros and cons to selfishness, but these aren't typical pros and cons that are always discussed. So I'm going to talk about what pros and cons should be discussed more. So when we look at selfishness as a concept, we're going to be talking about it from two different perspectives. Someone who's in a growth phase and someone who is in a survival phase. I'm obviously going to tell you, I'm going to spoil it for you right now, that selfishness is always going to help you when you're more in a survival phase. Because people who want to grow, they're typically not the most selfish people you'll meet. Selfish people often grow less and grow slower than people who are not so selfish. And there's a reason for this. So let's talk about these three people who are in survival mode right now. Number one, you're in prison. Now, I've never been to prison, but if you've seen a documentary or two, you kind of know what it's like in there. There's everyone out to get you, everyone's trying to get something from you, and everyone's trying to get something from you. This is not a healthy environment to try to thrive in. You have to be kind of the worst person in the world to constantly try to win in a situation like prison. Prison isn't a place for people who are trying to grow a business or grow a life or build a family. Prison is a place for people who are oftentimes cast aside by society and no one cares about them. So these people you're around are going to be the worst of the worst. This is when selfishness is going to be great. You need to get everything you can out of whoever you can, whenever you can. Next is going to be poverty. You don't have much, the people around you don't have much, and everyone's just trying to get something from everyone else. You trying to be teammates with someone else who is in an impoverished state, that's going to hurt. That's not going to be good because they're just going to use you, and as soon as your utility is gone, they're going to cast you aside. That's what poverty is. Poverty is a desperate situation that people are often cast in, and they have to do things that they otherwise wouldn't normally think of doing. Now, is it right? Of course not. But is it inevitable for people to act like that in this situation? Yes. 100,000% yes. People are going to use you. People are going to try to get something out of you. People are going to try to gain from your presence as much as they can. This is not a good environment to be a team player. If you're in poverty and you're impoverished and you're trying to be a team player, you're going to be used. You're going to be stolen from. You're going to be betrayed constantly. That is how poverty works. So you being selfless in an impoverished situation is going to be brutal. You're not going to have a good time. You're going to have a very bad time trying to be a good teammate to people who don't care about you and are only interested in helping themselves and their own family. Next, a great survival instinct is when you're losing a fight, losing in business. Being selfish is trying to make sure you're not going to be ruined after you're done in a certain situation. This is why you see a lot of CEOs, especially when a company is about to start going down, they will try to sell off all the shares they can. And once they sell off all these shares, they leave the business and like nothing ever happened. This is insider trading. This is illegal, but this is a common trope amongst high executives. If you're losing and everything's going to be over, this is your survival instinct. This is what's going to make you survive. This is what's going to keep you alive. This is what's going to keep you thriving and doing well. So now we're going to talk about how selfishness hurts you. It can hurt you a lot. So when people are switching from survival mode to a growth phase, this is where selfishness is going to start to bite you because it's a double-edged sword. In business, selfishness in business, when you are in a growth phase, is going to hurt you. It's going to hurt you and the people around you and your customers. Because if you're just trying to gain every little profit out of somebody or every little hour of work you can squeeze out of somebody without trying to pay them, you're not going to foster a good relationship with either your customers, your workers, or the contractors that you hire to help you. Now, this is why you see bosses who are bad at their job, bad managers, people who you're like, how are they in this position? Why are they in this position? These type of people aren't good at business because they're still in survival. They're trying to take everything they can from everyone around them, and you don't want to be around those people. But then there are others, these charismatic leaders who have no issue ever helping you out, looking out for you, doing what they think is a good deed. And you want to be around these people because they're a good team player. They're a great leader. These are people who are not in survival mode. These are people who are trying to grow something they see value in, trying to be important, trying to do something that has never been done before. Those are the people you want to be around. Those are great business leaders. That's why you have to be kind of selfless. You need to make hard decisions and you need to decide what is good for the company, what's good for this team, what is good for the business, even if it's not good for me right now, even if I have to work harder, even if I have to struggle a little bit to make sure these people get home to their families on time, to make sure they can continue to feed their families with the paycheck that they get. That's a great person to be around. That's a great trait of a leader. And that's what you need to be, selfless. You need to be a great captain when it comes to business. Next is relationships. If you're just trying to gain what you can out of somebody, as much as you can out of somebody, that's not fostering a good relationship. That's quite honestly the opposite of fostering a good relationship. You are hurting everyone around you. You are using the person you are in a relationship with. Not just romantically, but even in business, even in friendships. If you're just with someone or hanging out with someone because they have a lot of money or their family's well off, and you're just trying to get as much as you can, that's not genuine. That is bad. It doesn't feel good. Not to anyone involved in that situation. And your relationship's going to be on thin ice the entire time. It's not going to have any substance to it. It's not going to be able to go through turmoil. This is the most important case for when you're thinking about selfishness. What does it bring you? It brings you wins, but at what cost? Are you really trying to win in a relationship? When I think of relationships, I think of longevity, I think of prospering, and I think of people who want more, who are trying to achieve more. Those are the people who I want around me. And even if I'm with a partner, I want that person with me. I want that person growing. I want that person succeeding just like I am. If you don't have winners around you, or you're trying to keep people around you who aren't in the best situation, you're going to struggle. You're going to have a hard time. You're going to have a bad time. The people around you aren't going to support you. The people around you are going to use you. The people around you are going to abuse you. That's not where you want to be. The last thing is compromise. To a selfish person, compromise looks like losing. It's not losing. It is making a decision for the greater good. That's what a compromise is. And people who are selfish never realize this. They always assume if I don't get everything all the time, I lost. I didn't succeed in the way I should have succeeded. I didn't win how I wanted to win. Compromise is oftentimes better than winning because it's now a value exchange. And if neither party are happy with the outcome, that's a great outcome. That's how it's supposed to be. That's what compromise is. That's how you continue to grow. It's never always about just winning. It's about growing. And to grow, you need to make sacrifices. So selfishness will help you survive, but it's going to hinder you when you're trying to grow. Pretty much it. You like what you saw, subscribe. And yeah, thanks.